What's up, boys? It's Dual Factor once again with another video with Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a deck profile that I played this weekend at Locals. As you know, I kind of took a break from Danger Thunder because I've been playing it a lot. I've actually been playing it non-stop, and it still would be the deck that I'd take to an event. But for now, I'm playing a lot of Orcust decks because I think Orcust is a really, really cool deck that can be played with so many different engines. In this video, you're going to be seeing a version of it that I play the Golden Castle strategy with it. And I really like it. It reminds me a lot of the Invoke strategy where you have so many ways to open Golden Castle. So you have more or less a one-card combo. And I've had these cards laying around for God knows how long, so I just wanted a reason to play them. As you know, I also played a Warrior Orcust deck that I made a post about on the channel about a week or two ago. I'll show that list as well. I just wanted to show this one first because this is what I had built currently. And like I said, this is more interesting to me than the Warrior version, but I think the Warrior version is really cool too. And then I'll show a Danger version, and then the other deck profiles I promised you. I still want to show you Plant FTK because I think that deck's really cool, and I really love pretty plant cards. But for now, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile for Golden Castle Orcust. So to start off, we play 6 Golden Castle monsters, and that's what we'll call them for now. So we play 3 copies of Glyph, the Phantom Bird. So for those of you who don't know, Glyph is basically terraforming for Golden Castle Stromberg, and he also has another effect that whenever he's summoned, he can pop a spell or trap card in the spell zone, so he can't pop field spells. But that's actually a really important effect because it's a terraforming and a built-in MST all in the same card, and having access to Golden Castle is really important in this deck. So with this card, the 2 terraformings and 3 copies of Golden Castle, you have 8 copies of Golden Castle Stromberg, which reminds me of the Invoke strategies because you have 8 copies of Alistair essentially in your deck that you can open up with. For the rest of the Golden Castle monsters, we play 2 copies of Iron Hans. I prefer Iron Hans over Prinzessin, mainly because he's a warrior, and he also summons another warrior, which gives you access to Isold, which in my opinion is possibly one of the best Link monsters we have access to, simply because it gives you access to Armageddonite. So as long as Armageddonite is a legal card, Isold to me is just going to be an insane card. So basically, like, yeah, Iron Hans, whenever he's summoned, he summons Iron Knight out of the deck, which is just another warrior monster for you to make Isold. Keep in mind, if Golden Castle Stromberg's not on the field when you activate the effect, you can't go into the extra deck. But as long as Golden Castle Stromberg's on the field and you resolve that effect, you're good. And then the last Golden Castle monster we play is Iron Knight. He honestly has no relevant effect. He's just a warrior that you summon off Iron Hans. And that's it for the Golden Castle monsters. For the other non-Orcust cards, we're playing 1 Armageddonite. You can only play 1, and this is the card that you're going to summon off Isold every time. It just gives you access to your entire Orcust combo. It makes ending on Galatea or Dingirsu and Time Thief Reader more of a possibility than any other version of the deck. So that's why we play it. And then onto the Orcust engine. We're only playing 2 Harpoor. Like, it's really good to see in your opening hand because it's really good to discard off of Mermaid because it just guarantees your combo resolves. But at the same time, like, you don't want to see a bunch of just random normal summons in your hand. So there's that. Still 1 copy of Symbol Skeleton, 2 copies of Orcust Nightmare. Like I said, you want to be able to summon this off Mermaid. That's also the reason we're playing 2 Iron Hans. You want to be able to summon it off of Golden Castle. And then the 1 Wands. People go back and forth about playing this card. I just play it because it gives you more. When you open optimally or open like your combo as you should in this deck, because you have so many ways of opening it, you should be able to resolve this card every turn. So there's that. And then the 2 necessary engine requirements and Silent Boots and Cloak. I've thought about playing 2 of this card, but I'd rather just play the 1/1. If I draw them, so be it. But I don't want to ruin your consistency any more than it already is. For the spells, 3 of the aforementioned Golden Castle Stromberg. So a quick rundown on what this card does. While it's on the field, you must banish the top 10 cards of your deck during every standby phase. This is not optional, and if you cannot, you destroy the card. And then once per turn, you can special summon any monster that lists the Golden Castle Stromberg specifically in its card text. The turn you do that, you cannot normal summon or set. And then also for, which a lot of people don't know this, whenever Golden Castle Stromberg is on the field and your opponent declares an attack on a monster, you destroy the attacking monster, and if you do, you inflict damage equal to your opponent, and life point damage equal to half the monster's current attack. That effect actually comes up a lot more than people realize. They don't pay attention. They just start running their monsters in yours, and you start getting free advantage right off there and then. But mainly we're playing this because Golden Castle of Stromberg is 1-card Orcust combo, no other cards in hand required, because you're going to be adding Phoenix Blade off of Isold to be able to generate a discard for your for Nightmare Mermaid, the summon Orcust Nightmare. With, like I said, with this, Terraforming, and Glyph, the Phantom Bird, it's like playing Alistair. You have 8 copies. I think it's like a 72% chance of opening it in your opening hand of a starting 5. The card to me is insane. That being said, if it gets ashed, your turn's pretty much over because the number of extenders you can play in this version is really limited. But like I said, this to me is just a very fun version of the deck to play, and I really like the Golden Castle Stromberg. Arguably, you could play a 60-card build, but if you're playing 60 cards with a Golden Castle, to me, that just kind of ruins the point of playing the Golden Castle. Because the idea of it is because you have so many copies of it, you should see it more consistently in your open hand, and if you increase the deck size, that doesn't happen. Now, it decreases the amount of bricks you might see in your hand. You can just play more cards for 1 card, but I'd rather just play clean 40. So, on to the rest of the spells. 1 Orcust Babble. You have a lot more access to it in this deck because you are playing Terraforming, and if you open, like, say, a copy of Golden Castle and a Terraforming, this Terraforming can be sent to go get the Babble, and then you just end on Babble and Crescendo, so that's insane. And we're also playing 2 copies of Terraforming, as said before, to get to the set cards. The rest of the spell cards, we play 3 copies of Called by the Grave. You just want your plays to resolve, and if you don't have to stop hand traps, and this just becomes a really powerful trap card. An engine I think it's mandatory to play in all Orcust decks right now, and that is the Sky Striker engine, because this lets you do your combo without normal summoning, and that's huge in this deck, because if you activate Golden Castle Stromberg, you can't normal summon. So you don't have those powerful normal summons in your deck like you do the other versions of the deck, and being able to just be combo without normal summoning is huge. I personally play 2 copies of Eagle Booster. A lot of people don't like this card and are cutting it from the deck, but to me, this card's insane, especially, it's really good when your opponent doesn't know you have it. So, to me, playing the second copy is a no-brainer because you just have more of a chance of seeing it in your opening hand, and it just forces your Mermaid through. And another really cool thing to keep in mind is when you're playing it in this version of the deck, when you summon Isold, Isold turns on the secondary effect of it to where your cards can't be destroyed by battle when you target them and all that fun stuff. So, like, Eagle Booster to me is just like a super insane card that I think should be played because it just guarantees your play resolves when you have it. And then the 1 copy of Hornet Drones because you have to play it. And then for the 5 equips, we play 1 copy of Overdone Burial, 1 Living Fossil, 1 DDR, this card's insane, 1 copy of Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, and 1 Autonomous Action Unit. This card's insane against hand traps. That's it for the spells. On to the traps. 2 copies of Fog Blade. Sometimes I think about playing 1, but 2 does come up. In this version, I am playing Shade Brigandine. It is a warrior extender that does not require normal summon, so if you absolutely have to have it and you draw into it, then you're good to go. And then 1 copy of Orcust Crescendo. So that is the main deck. It is 40. And then we will go on to the extra deck. If I can get these out of the way for you. So to the extra deck, 3 copies of Orcust Galatea. To me, I think it's mandatory to really play 3 because you need it to be able to grind out your opponent, especially in the mirror. You really need 3. Also, they have to be ulti if they don't work. Just putting that out there. But yeah, you 100% need to play 3. There's not much more I can say. This card does everything you want it to do for an archetype-specific card. We play 1 Longursu, and the card that makes everything possible, 2 Dengursu. Like, this card, it does so much for a deck. Like, it's actually insane. I can't believe this card got printed. But that's it for the Orcust cards. I wouldn't play any more, any less. Dengursu is questionable, but I think, not Dengursu. Or Longursu. I can go back and forth on it, but we're not going to get into that. 1 copy of Rusty Bardiche. This card's probably going to go. Like, it's insane. For the Nightmares, 1 Mermaid. Resolve it, you win. 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus, and 1 Unicorn. Note, there is a little bit of popularity of Chaos Hunter going up, and if you're playing, this is why I kind of want to play the Danger version of it. If this outs the Chaos Hunter, so that's really cool. For the rest of the cards, You play the one Kagari for the Sky Striker engine. You only need one. You can only play one, so keep that in mind. My personal best pick for best Link in the game right now is honest. Like, this card in Isolt is insane. It just doesn't really have a home in any other deck since Goki's not been part of it. But the card is just, like, amazing for what it does. And like I said, as long as Armageddonite is still a factor and still legal and playable, this card to me is always going to be insane, and I want to find a way to play it in a lot of decks. The last Link we play is Boral Sword. You're just trying to go for game at that point. And then the only other card we play is Time Thief Redoer. Even without the Phantom Knight's rank up magic, this card itself is insane. It removes itself from the field to open up a zone for Bardiche and Engursu play, which is insane in your deck. Phoenix Moment, non-targeting Phoenix Moment Blast. And if you happen to rip a spell off the top of your opponent's deck, you get to draw a card. Like, this card just does everything for a generic rank 4 that happens to be a dark attribute, so you can play it on your combo. And that was my deck profile for the Golden Castle Orcust strategy that I played this weekend. This deck's a lot of fun, but I think there are better versions of the deck, especially like with Scrap Recycler being a very popular card, and we're eventually going to get the Scrap Link that's going to be really good. Me personally, I like the Warrior build that plays the Vions and the Connectors and stuff like that, because I think those are just like insane one-card starters. Then there's a generic version of it where I kind of think that people should gravitate back to playing Dangers, because I think Dangers are just insane. But that, again, that was my Golden Castle deck profile for Orcust. Always remember to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget, every Monday that we have the X2 Drop podcast that goes up on my channel, on Bingo HD's channel. Also in the links in the description below, you have for the BuzzFeed and the Apple iTunes podcast version of it. We're trying to make that big, so don't forget to check that out. Always remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.